Right now, somewhere in the Amazon, a fruit grows directly out of a tree trunk. Not a branch, the bark itself, bleeding purple. That fruit has fed indigenous communities for centuries. It's nutritionally extraordinary. Almost nobody outside South America has ever seen it. We found 25 of them. Fruits so bizarre, so far outside what the modern food system sells you, that most people will die without encountering them. Some you can grow yourself. Number 7 will change how you think about food security entirely. Jabuticaba, Brazil. The Jabuticaba erupts directly from the trunk. Clusters of dark purple fruit bursting straight from the bark. When it fruits, the entire trunk turns purple overnight. Flavor: grape, lychee, plum. Here's why you'll never find it in a store. Within 3 to 4 days of ripening, it begins to ferment on the tree. Brazilians race to make wine and jam before the window closes. Polyphenol levels exceed blueberries. A fruit that grows from bark, lasts 4 days, and almost no one outside Brazil has tasted. 2. Black Sapote, Mexico. You've been told healthy eating means sacrificing taste. The black Sapote makes that look ridiculous. At peak ripeness, the skin turns almost black. The flesh inside is the color and texture of chocolate pudding. It tastes like chocolate pudding. No cocoa, no sugar. The fruit itself, while containing nearly 6 times the vitamin C of an orange per 100 grams. 3. Miracle fruit, West Africa. This red berry contains a glycoprotein called miraculin, discovered by Japanese researcher Kenzo Kurihara in 1968. Eat it and lemons taste like lemonade. Vinegar tastes like apple juice, for up to 2 hours. In the 1970s, there was a serious push to commercialize it as a sugar substitute for diabetics. The FDA halted it. Suspicions remain that the sugar industry applied pressure, never confirmed. Entirely legal today, available as frozen berries or tablets. A natural berry that eliminates the need for sugar. Never made it to your grocery store. Durian, Southeast Asia. Banned from Singapore's subway. Prohibited in hotels across Southeast Asia. Described in academic literature as rotten eggs, gym socks, and sewage simultaneously. Here's what most people miss. There are over 30 species, and the flesh is extraordinary. Custard-like, rich, almond undertones. King of fruits across Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. The smell is a biological feature, designed to attract animals that disperse its seeds. People who get past it almost universally become converts. 5. Akabi, Japan. Some fruits only exist for 2 weeks per year. Akabi is a purple cylindrical pod that splits open in early autumn in northern Japan's mountain forests. Inside, translucent white flesh, pear, coconut, and melon at once. Sold as a luxury gift in ornate boxes. The surprising part? The thick, bitter skin is the prized ingredient. Stuffed with miso, ground meat, and vegetables, then sautéed. Same fruit. 2 completely different experiences. 2 weeks, then gone for a year. 6. Mangosteen, Southeast Asia. 15 years. That's how long you wait for a mangosteen seedling to bear its first fruit. Then it produces over 1,000 fruits in a good season. Purple rind opening to pure white segments. Widely considered one of the finest flavors in the natural world. The United States banned imports until 2007. Still rare and expensive globally. 15 years of patience for a fruit most people have never tasted. 7. Cupuaçu, Amazon, Brazil. Here's the one from the opening. A direct relative of cacao, same plant family, growing wild throughout the Amazon. Thick brown shell, creamy white pulp. Flavor: chocolate, pineapple, and pear simultaneously. Pará state alone produces 500 tons annually. Now used in Amazon reforestation projects because it produces income without clearing land. It grows inside the forest. A fruit that tastes like chocolate and rebuilds rainforest at the same time. 8. Yangmei berry, China. Looks like a deep burgundy raspberry with an architectural surface. Each bump an individual stalk of flesh. Flavor: strawberry and raspberry with a herbal, tannic finish. Cultivated in China for over 2,000 years. Absent from Western markets because the gaps between flesh stalks harbor fruit fly larvae. Saltwater soaking before eating is standard practice. Export logistics are commercially unviable. 2,000 years of cultivation, completely invisible to the Western world. 9. Rambutan, Southeast Asia. The name means hairy in Malay. Flexible pink-red spines covering the exterior. like a sea creature that grew on a tree. Inside, nearly identical to a lychee. Translucent, sweet, mildly acidic. Those spines directly regulate the moisture and texture of the flesh. Introduced to East Africa by Arab traders in the 13th century. Carried to the Americas by the Dutch in the 19th. Form following function. Across continents, across centuries. 10. Horned melon, kiwano. Kalahari Desert, native to the Kalahari Desert. Orange shell, hard-pointed horns, lime green jelly inside. Flavor, banana, lime, and cucumber simultaneously. Its deep root system survives extreme heat and drought where nothing else grows. Communities across southern Africa depended on it through droughts that would have left them with nothing. Now cultivated commercially in the US, Chile, Australia, and New Zealand. 11. Buddha's hand. India, China. No juice, no seeds, no flesh. Almost entirely rind and pith, fingers curling outward like an open hand. What it produces is fragrance, intensely floral citrus used in Buddhist temples for centuries. In the kitchen, the pith is non-bitter, candied or infused into spirits where lemon would overpower everything. A fruit with nothing inside, worth more than most fruits with everything. 12. Cherimoya, Andes. Mark Twain called this the most delicious fruit known to man. He wrote it. People who've tried it rarely argue. Grows in high-altitude Andean valleys, preferring mountain mist. Inside, custard white flesh with banana, pineapple, and strawberry pulling in 3 directions. Balanced so precisely none dominates. Requires hand pollination because its native pollinators don't exist outside its home range. 13. Jackfruit, South and Southeast Asia. The largest tree-borne fruit on Earth. Regularly hits 40 pounds. Unripe, its fibrous texture mimics pulled pork so convincingly, it's now served in restaurants across Europe and North America as a plant-based substitute. Most diners have no idea what it is. Ripe, it tastes like banana, mango, and pineapple. One tree produces up to 150 fruits per year. That's not a hobby plant. That's a food system. 14. Feijoa, Southern Brazil. The feijoa announces ripeness differently. It falls. When perfectly ripe, it releases from the branch on its own. Inside, creamy, fragrant flesh. Pineapple and strawberry with a floral finish. Tolerates temperatures down to 12 degrees Fahrenheit when established. Produces reliably in USDA zones 8 through 11. Of every fruit on this list, this is the one most home growers can actually plant and harvest themselves. 15. Tamarillo, Andes. Grows in Andean highlands, tolerating altitude and temperature swings that destroy most fruit crops. Deep red to orange to yellow flesh. Flavor, sweet, tart, and tropical. Works in savory sauces, salsas, and desserts equally. New Zealand became a major commercial producer after recognizing its value. An Andean mountain fruit now grown commercially on the other side of the planet. 16. Monstera deliciosa, Mexico. You may have one in your living room right now. The Monstera, world's most popular indoor plant, produces edible fruit under tropical conditions. Most growers have absolutely no idea. The unripe fruit causes severe burning in the mouth from calcium oxalate crystals. When ripe, the green scales lift and peel back on their own. That's the only signal. Flavor, banana, pineapple, mango, passion fruit, and strawberry at once. The world's most common houseplant, hiding a fruit almost nobody has tasted. 17. Sapote, Central America. Its wood was used to build Mayan temple lintels, some still standing 1,000 years later. The fruit looks unimpressive, rough and brown. Inside, honey brown flesh tasting of brown sugar and pear. Also the original source of chicle, the latex base of chewing gum, chewed by the Aztecs centuries before Wrigley's existed. The tree that built Mayan architecture also invented chewing gum. 18. Soursop, Caribbean. Large and spiky with white fibrous pulp tasting of citrus, strawberry, and coconut milk simultaneously. Used in traditional medicine across the Caribbean, Central America, and West Africa for centuries. A class of compounds called acetogenins has made it one of the most studied tropical fruits in ethnobotanical research worldwide. Studies still ongoing. Centuries of medicinal history. Still being studied, still largely unknown. 19. Star apple, West Indies. Cut it across the equator. A perfect white star set against deep purple flesh. Every single fruit. Trees up to 50 feet with leaves that are green on top and golden brown underneath. Two colors shimmering in the wind. Flavor: apple, lychee, and persimmon with milky sweetness. Critical: the skin contains latex that makes the mouth stick together. Eat from the center only. Nature hid a perfect star inside and booby-trapped the outside. 20. Ackee, Jamaica. The unripe fruit contains toxins, hypoglycin A and B, that cause Jamaican vomiting sickness, potentially fatal. It must open naturally on its own before it is safe. Cannot be rushed. When properly prepared, the flesh cooks to the texture of scrambled eggs, rich and buttery. Jamaica's national dish. Originally brought from West Africa through the slave trade in the 18th century. A fruit with the power to nourish and the power to kill, and a people who learn to live with both. 21. Dragon fruit. Americas, Southeast Asia. Dragon fruit is a cactus. Its flowers bloom exclusively at night. Large, ivory-white blooms opening after dark and closing by morning. Pollination happens in that narrow nocturnal window, invisible to everyone. The white-fleshed interior is mild, kiwi and pear. Now one of the fastest expanding tropical crops globally, cultivated in Vietnam, Thailand, Israel, and across the American Southwest. A night-flowering cactus, growing quietly in the dark. 22. Snake fruit, Salak, Indonesia. A stemless palm with 6-meter spined leaves. The fruit has reddish-brown scales, so geometrically precise they look manufactured. Inside, crisp flesh, sharp when young, apple-like when ripe. Densely planted, Salak palms form an impenetrable natural hedge. The same plant that protects the perimeter feeds the household. 23. Yuzu, Japan. One fresh yuzu in the United States costs $4 to $8 for a fruit the size of a golf ball. It produces almost no juice. What it generates is aroma, a complex herbal, floral, citrus fragrance used in Japanese and Korean cuisine for over 1,000 years. In ponzu, ramen broths, sake, only recently entering Western kitchens. One fruit, 1,000 years of history, just arriving everywhere else. 24. Lucuma, Peru. The Incas called it the gold of the Andes. Its image appears on ancient Peruvian ceramics as a symbol of fertility and longevity. Flavor: maple syrup, sweet potato, and butterscotch simultaneously. Even in Peru, it's rarely found fresh. Almost always sold as yellow powder used in ice cream and desserts. Contains beta-carotene, iron, zinc, calcium, and protein. In health stores worldwide now. Still barely known by name. 25. Baobab, Africa. Baobab trees live over 1,000 years, some estimated at 2,000. The fruit self-dries on the branch before harvest. It doesn't rot. It desiccates naturally while still on the tree. Inside, tangy pulp with 6 times the vitamin C of oranges per gram and more calcium than milk by weight. African communities have used every part, fruit, seeds, bark, leaves, for food and medicine for centuries. A tree alive for 2,000 years, feeding people the entire time. That's not a fruit, that's a living archive. 25 fruits. Most you'll never find in a store. Some you can grow yourself. A few could feed a family through a bad year. The modern food system skipped these not because they don't work, but because they don't fit a supply chain built for uniformity. The knowledge is real. The seeds exist. The trees exist. What this list represents is a fraction of what human civilizations figured out how to grow long before anyone needed a grocery store to survive. That's worth thinking about. Subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.